So just the first thing about the school, just in case you don't know where we are, we're based really very centrally in the middle of Dublin. We're in an area called Grange Gorman. It's about a 15-minute walk, even 10 minutes walk to kind of Parnell Square, O'Connell Street. Um, you can catch the Lewis Green Line directly to the campus, or you can catch the Red Line down here to Smithfield, which is, again, it's about like a 5-minute walk. So we're really centrally located. There are lots of other bus options and train options in the area as well. But just to give you an idea of where we are. And again, if you are considering coming to us, I'd strongly recommend coming to one of our open days. There will be others aside from the one that's coming up in on the 7th. We've got an amazing campus in Grange Gorman. It's a combination of beautiful old buildings and brand new buildings, including our East Quad, which is the home of the school. The East Quad is home to our studios, art and design studios, amazing set of workshops and creative spaces for you to do your work in. We also have lots of exhibition spaces. Our studios double up as kind of galleries where we can put on exhibitions and show our students' work. We're also joined in the East Quad by the School of Media, who we work very closely with, the Conservatoire of Music and Drama, and Social Sciences, Law and Education. So, and then on the campus, we're joined by a huge amount of other programs throughout the university. So you're joining a large campus with lots and lots of facilities and lots of other students. I just want to mention one thing about our staff, and the best way to find out about our staff is to go onto the website. This isn't all of them, it's just a snapshot of some of their profiles. But all our staff are, they're not only lecturers, but they're also practicing artists, designers, and visual culture experts. And that's really important to us. We're very close to industry and we're very close to the sector. I want to mention one thing, which is really important, and it's a really good way for you to get a feeling about what our programs are like and the types of work you might produce. It's our graduate exhibition. We have a graduate exhibition every year, and you're very welcome to attend. Next year, it'll be on the 29th of May, 2025. Now, that's a long way away. I might end up in the middle of your leaving cert, but you are more than welcome to attend, and we'd love to see you there. If you can't actually make it there, I'm just going to share, if I can just get it here, our GradEx website. So this is our graduate exhibition website, and it's really special in that it's designed every year by graduates, by students on our visual communication program. And they produce a different identity, and they produce a website that displays the work of all the graduates graduating each year. So if you want to get a feeling for the type of work that the students produce, you click on courses and you can navigate, we'll say, to we can go to visual communication, and you can select the individual students' work and you can read about them. You can also look back at the archive of the program of the websites that have been designed every year by our students and look at the work that they produced. It's a really, really good way for you to get a feeling for what it's like to study on the programs within the school. Again, you click on the program and you can find images of the graduating students' work. So that's our GradEx and our website. Just to mention another couple of things, actually, while I'm here, just a second. The school website also has lots of information. We've got a news section, and on that news section, you'll find out information about any open days, any portfolio talks. We're going to have another webinar in January next year as well. But you'll also find lots of the kind of good news stories. And just to, I was just looking at this earlier today, and just to flick through a couple of them. We very recently, just last Friday night, one of our graduates from our BA in Visual Art, which is a program which is based actually in Cork, West Cork, but she was the graduate. She was the winner of a very prestigious award, the RDS Visual Art Award, and it comes with a huge actual prize award of €10,000. But looking at all our programs, our students have had amazing success recently. We've been a winner at the IDI Awards, the Institute of Designers in Ireland Award. Our graduate Leah Clark, for her work, was awarded the Grand Prix Prize. And also, if you want to look at the IDI Awards, you'll actually see lots and lots of our students winning or being shortlisted for awards. Again, I just picked a piece of news from each of our programs. One of our students from our visual merchandising program last year designed some of the windows at Macy's in New York, which is, I mean, a hugely significant thing to do. And actually, from our visual merchandising program as well, we have students who compete in World Skills, and they're going in 2026 to represent Ireland at the World Skills competition in China. From interior design, we've had a huge number of successes as well. We have an ongoing competition with Sunus Bathrooms, where our students design bathrooms using Sunus products, and there are various prizes for those students. And their displays actually sometimes get installed at various kind of trade shows as well. And also, just as it happens for the night that's in it, one of our recent graduates she's shortlisted at the Fit Out Awards for being she's shortlisted as an emerging talent at the Fit Out Awards, which is actually happening this evening. So our graduates go on and they go out into the world, and they really do us proud, and we're very, very proud of our graduate network. And we're always delighted to see how well they do. Just our contacts, in case you need to get in contact with us, you've got our website and our email address. If you literally just Google TU Dublin Art and Design, you'll find our webpage really quickly. So I know most of you are really here to find out a little bit about our portfolio submissions and how you might go about submitting a portfolio to the school. So what I've got here is a kind of list of frequently asked questions. I'll talk through them, and then at the end, if you have any questions that you want to ask us, you can just stick them in the chat and we'll try and get through them. So first thing off, how do you submit your portfolio? We use an online platform called SlideRoom. So it's tudublin.slideroom.eu. If you can't remember that, just Google TU Dublin portfolio submission and you'll find a link to SlideRoom. And I'm going to actually talk you through the process in a few minutes and show you the SlideRoom platform. What's the closing date? So again, this year the closing date is Monday, 10th of March, 2025 at 5 p.m. So that's the deadline. You need to have your portfolio submitted by then. And it's really important. We are strict with the deadlines. What type of work should I submit? Well, I suppose the most important thing that we want to see is we want to see that you've got an inquiring mindset. You've got to have the ability to explore concepts through your art and design work. What we actually look at is up to 25 pieces of work. And we'd encourage you to put in what best represents your abilities in terms of drawing, practical and conceptual skills. And we like to see a wide range of work, from notebooks and sketchbooks to process and development up to finished pieces. And we're really interested in that early work, not just the finished pieces. So we like to see the notebooks, we like to see the sketchbooks, and I'll talk to you in a second about how you might upload those. Which programs require a portfolio submission? So from our school, there are visual communication, fine art, interior design, and visual merchandising and display design. They're the 4 programs in our school that require portfolio submission. The portfolio system is actually open now. We've just opened it today. And I suppose some of you might want to go in and have a look and try starting to create your application. And you can do that, and you can save it later, and you can save your artwork, and you don't have to do it all in one go. So you can go in now and start to upload images, and you don't have to actually press the button and submit until March. But it is really important to remember that you do have to submit. So even if you upload everything now, you have to remember to submit at a later date. You can submit at any point, but do remember to submit, because it happens sometimes that people upload all their work. They say, okay, I'll go back and submit it later, but they sometimes forget. So that's a really important thing to remember. What types of files can I upload? So we take images up to 5 megabytes each. They're typically JPEGs. PDFs up to 10 megabytes each. The PDFs can have several pages, so that's a really good way to upload sketches, which I'll mention in a minute. You can also upload videos up to 250 megabytes each. Again, another good way to upload your sketchbooks is using video. And you may also link to media such as YouTube and Vimeo. Just one important thing to notice: if you're uploading to Vimeo, make sure we can actually access it, or to YouTube, just make sure it's not set to private or anything like that, because we need to be able to see it. What if your images and files are too big? Well, really, they probably shouldn't be, because your images don't need to be absolutely huge. If they are, there are ways. So if you literally just Google ways to reduce your image size, you can do that. There are two links. There's Photoshop, and if you look at Adobe, they have ways of compressing files as well. How should I photograph my work? Use a digital camera or a good phone camera. Good phone camera is absolutely perfect, and most people have access to a reasonable phone camera. Most important thing is take your time. So don't just do a really quick pic and stick it in. So take your time in actually composing a picture and thinking about how you can present your work best. So you should also ensure you have good light. So try not to photograph it in a really dark room. You might also generally try to get flat or even light across the room. Sometimes we see things come in with, clear shadows of a person, covering half the artwork, and it really doesn't present your work in the best way possible. So try and get nice, flat, or even light across the work. You could try photographing something outside. That often gives a kind of a flatter light and good daylight. You definitely don't have to do that, but it's just one idea that might help. You could also hang your work on a wall, and if you hang it on a wall and then take a picture, you're preventing, at least usually, not having shadows over your work. Try and get your work against a clear background. So if you have a model or something else, like maybe three-dimensional, that you want to take, maybe put it on a white table or a clear table and take it, and avoid having any clutter or anything that'll detract from your work. We're not really, we're very nice when we're looking at portfolios, and we do understand, you don't have a photographic studio in your home, but so we understand all of that, but just do make sure that you try and present your work in the best light. So how can you show your sketchbooks and notebooks? Easiest way to do it, I think, is a video. That's really the quickest kind of way. If you're doing a video, just take your time. You can set up your phone, you can prop it up against something, and you can actually just set a video and flick through your notebook. If you want, you can speak while you do it, but you definitely don't have to. We'll get a really good idea by actually just seeing you leafing through the pages, and we can pause it. So you don't need to pause very long on any page, but just, take your time and leaf through the notebook page by page. You can do a slideshow. Again, that could be less than 1 minute. You can put things into PowerPoint and do a slideshow. It's a little bit more of a job, but you can certainly do it if you like. You can also scan your notebooks and put them into a PDF. That's another really good way of doing it. So any of those make perfect sense. What I would say is, be kind of careful to curate your work a little bit. Well, your notebooks are we're happy to see everything, but if you're scanning things in, we'll say putting them into a PDF, pick the work that gives a really good general idea of your background. You don't have to put in absolutely everything you've ever done since you were in primary school. So we just want to see your ability to be able to curate your work a little bit too. Do I need to make an applicant statement? There on the form, which I'll show you in a few seconds, there is a box which is an applicant statement. It's totally optional. We don't mark it. You can put something in if you like. It does give us a kind of a little bit of background to you, and for that reason, it's a nice thing to do. But it's not essential. If there's anything you want to say in there, you can say it, and we will absolutely read it. It might be about your motivation for doing the course. We like to hear things like that, but it is entirely optional. You don't have to write a big long statement. How will your work be marked? So we mark the work in 3 categories. So evidence of drawing ability is the first one, and that has 200 marks. And we like to see examples of freehand observation and technical drawing, freehand sketching, observational kind of drawing, or technical drawings. We'd like to see use of color and texture, and a variety of subjects and kind of media. So we do want to see variety, really. You don't have to be absolutely amazing at drawing, but we would like to see that you're not afraid to draw. That's really what I always kind of say. We want to see you trying. We like to see evidence of practical ability. So maybe skills in 3D visualization. So some of you might be doing kind of CAD stuff, but it doesn't have to be that. It could be just different types of 3D work. So it might be making models. It might be using different materials, textures, fabrics, whatever it is. So your practical ability to kind of make something. And really important, we want to see your evidence of conceptual ability. So we want to see you investigating things through your artwork. We want to see you generating ideas, and we want to see imagination and creativity. And again, the best way to see that is often through the sketchbooks. Sketchbooks, again, really important. And yeah, we want to see that you have an inquiring mindset and the ability to explore concepts through your art and design work. How many points do you need to get? So I suppose, first of all, it varies, but we do have minimum marks for each of our programs. The maximum score that you can get is 600 points, and applicants must attain a minimum of the scores that are outlined below. So for visual communication and for fine art, it's 400 points minimum. For interior design, it's 350 points, and for visual merchandising, it is 300 points. And these are the minimum portfolio points. Okay, so effectively what happens is your portfolio points are added to your Leaving Cert points, and then obviously it's a competitive process. How will you get your results? Results will be sent to the email address supplied on your CAO application. So you'll get an email from us notifying you of your of the result that you've achieved in your portfolio. What if you have a query? You can email us or you can contact us by phone. So school.artanddesign@tudublin.ie, and that information is on our website as well, so you don't need to write it down quickly. So I'm going to just quickly talk you through submitting a portfolio, and then we will get on to some questions. So very first thing you do is you navigate to tudublin.slideroom.eu. Once you do that, you'll see this page here, and there's some information on this page. The portfolio frequently asked questions, there's a link to that on here, so you can click through that, and that is effectively, I suppose, what I've been talking you through here as well. There is also general information on the website under this link. You will need, first of all, to sign up to the slide room. It's a very quick process. It'll give you a login, and then once you log into, you'll be able to log into the tudublin.slideroom.eu. Once you do that, what you will find is you'll have a directory, and the directory has, at the moment, there's just a test for the architecture program, but the one that you'll want to click on is School of Art and Design Portfolio Submission 2025. and we've got the deadline there. And it lets you know what programs you're applying for and allows you to begin the application. And I'm just going to navigate to the actual form because it'll give you a better idea if I do it live. So you can go to School of Art and Design Portfolio Submissions 2025. You begin your application. The very first thing we ask of you is that you're only submitting your own work. And that is really important, obviously. You're not submitting anyone else's work. You have to stand over that it is your own work. So you make that statement, and it is really important. So you will be agreeing to that, and you can save the changes and continue to the next step. At this point, you might enter your CAO number for 2025. It's really important. If you've applied through the CAO before, you might have a different number from 2024. Make sure it's your 2025 number. That's really important. Enter your date of birth. You can enter if you're also in Leaving Cert or doing a post-Leaving Cert course, or if there's something else you're doing. You can select your country, and this is just background information from us so that we can see where our students are coming from. And you can mention your school where you currently go to. These questions are optional and you don't have to answer them. We do ask you to answer which programs you intend to apply for through the CAO. At this point, then, you're asked about an applicant statement, and you can just put in a statement. It's a maximum of 1,000 words or a maximum of 6,000 characters. We don't need a lengthy essay, but it is sometimes nice for us to see what's motivating you about studying the programs that you've chosen to apply for. And then it's really simple. It's really about uploading your portfolio. You simply click on Add Media. You can select the files on your computer, and then once you go there, you can click on that. And okay, not working for some reason. Let me just try another one. Okay, well, I'll just ignore that for the moment. I'm going to choose just to do it from the library because I've uploaded them before. But it is really straightforward. You can select the images you want to upload, add to portfolio, and at that point, then you can actually title them and add some details if you want to. Again, this is totally optional. It gives a default title for the image, picture one. You can write in sketchbook one, or you can add some details. Again, it's totally optional. You don't have to. Once you've done that, once you've added all your media and you're ready to progress, you just click on next, and you're literally ready to submit then. Important thing to remember is once you submit, you can't unsubmit. There's no, if you really have done something wrong, you can contact the school and we can send it back to you. But it's a little bit difficult for us to do. So we'd much prefer if you wait until you've got everything perfect and then you submit your application at the end, okay? So, but again, like I said before, you really do need to remember at the end to make sure you do actually submit, okay? So that's the process, and it's really simple and it's really straightforward. What I'm going to do is stop sharing my screen now, and I'm going to probably ask for the help of some of my colleagues for just in answering some questions, and let me see who's here. So I'll do some introductions as well. Hello, Neville. I see Neville coming on. So Neville is the program chair of interior design. Barry.
Hello, everyone.
Sheehan is there as well. Barry is the head of the design discipline in the school. He looks after all of the design programs. Not sure if there's anyone else from any of the staff. I'm not seeing them if they're coming up.
Mick O'Hara is there.
Oh, hi, Mick. So Mick O'Hara is from program chair of fine art. And yeah, and as I said, we've got Nolene Johnson as well from admissions if we have any technical queries. So what I'll do is I'll read the questions, and then Barry and Neville can answer, or Nolene or anyone else. But we'll go through them here. So sorry to interrupt, but what if you don't primarily use sketchbooks? I mostly work digitally, and most sketches are done digitally. So Barry, do you want to take that?
I think that'd be fine with me. I mean, I suppose a lot of our outputs, depending on the program, but a lot of our outputs would be digital. So if the sketches are digital and they're your own, I don't see any objections. See Neville's nodding his head. That'd be my view. John, you might have a different view, or certainly Mick might have a view for fine art, but for the general design
Yes.
programs, digital will be fine.
Yeah, it depends on the program. I would suggest if it's a fine art application, we would still like to see different processes used. I've indicated that in the response to Tara there. You know, it depends again on the program, I would suggest. But yeah, I mean, from a fine art perspective, we would definitely be encouraging both the use of a notebook as a research tool, but also the use of different media too, including digital, where where suitable.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Mick. Will the recording be sent to everyone? So I think we will do that. I'm not sure if Nolene might be able to look after that in admissions, but if not, we will be able to send it to everyone. If by any chance you don't get it, you can check back on the website. If you just Google TUW portfolio, that will bring you straight to the web portfolio submission website, and there will be a link there. You might give us a couple of days, and there'll be a link there to the webinar. I see Mick's answer to Tara. What about on some websites? Is that okay for your portfolio? So again, probably to Barry, we'll give that one.
Yeah, 100%. If you have some, great. If you can add the URL so we can actually look at it, it'd be great. But absolutely, if you've done some, include them.
Okay, great stuff. And this is one for you, Neville. What kind of work are you expecting to see in our sketchbooks for interior design?
You can have any type of sketching in there at all. We don't mind still life. We don't mind any type of observational drawing. Of course, if you can do some sketches of interior spaces showing some, I suppose, focusing on perspective, that would be really useful for us.
Great stuff. Then I've got my sketchbook is mostly planning for a fully developed piece instead of studies. Would these be okay for the portfolio? Are you looking for more studies? I'm just trying to figure out what that means, but maybe I mean, I think basically we want to see the planning, we want to see the background work and some finished work. If anything, I think we'd probably prefer to see more of the prep work, the exploration, that kind of thing. If we saw 20 finished beautiful paintings, I mean, that might be great and we might love it, but we really would like to see the background stuff as well, and that's really important. So I hope that answers that question. What kind of work are you expecting in sketchbooks for visual communication?
Well, for me, John, I'd say varied. I mean, it doesn't have to be, sketches of letters or typefaces or anything like that, but it can. Some people like to do that. But again, the same kind of general stuff, a lot of variety. I think what is always good is to see notebooks. If there are notebooks, it's really good to see how somebody got there. If someone to develop on from what one of the earlier students says, in looking at a fully developed piece, but they're planning for the fully developed piece. So it'd be good to see the planning for the fully developed piece. So that kind of thing, the visual communication portfolios tend to be similar as other people do, because the program has a component of it is illustration, there's digital media, and there is typography. So yeah, a good mixed range for visual communication.
Yeah, and we actually don't mark the portfolios by program. So we mark them. You get a mark that's across all the programs, if you know what I mean. So in some programs we might look in a way like that's one of the reasons visual communication and fine art have a slightly higher mark, because we would expect maybe slightly better drawing skills than we would in interiors. So that kind of accounts for that. But we don't differentiate by program in terms of marks. So that's just important. Is critical visual cultures taught as an elective in fine art common entry? And the answer is yes. To that, I don't know, Mick, if you want to say, because Mick also teaches on visual culture.
Yeah, so I teach on both visual culture and in the fine art program, and it's something that the module that I deliver would be kind of theories of history. So that's a core module for or is part of the modules that are delivered both in first, second, and third year. So yeah, it's delivered across the program, and it's supplemented by additional optional modules which you can also choose as well, that are a bit broader than just say discipline specific related to contemporary art practice. So there's a nice set of options in relation to yeah, different kind of courses that are run within the university. So
Yeah, and all of our programs have kind of visual culture, critical theory, as both mandatory and optional modules. So some of them you'll get to actually share modules with different programs. So if you're studying BizCom, you might do visual culture, critical theory modules with people in interior design or some of the other programs, for example. For interior design, is there an importance of having multiple projects in your portfolio, or could you be focused on one concept? That's one for Neville.
Okay, so for this, you would need to have quite a body of work if you're just focusing on one project. But if one project is, let's say, if you're looking at an office as a concept, there could be different areas in that you can expand out. But you'd really need to be looking at different types of areas, I would think. We normally ask or hope to see about 4 or 5 different types of interior spaces in a portfolio. So again, if it's, let's say if you're even looking at a domestic interior, if you take different rooms, whether it's living, kitchen, bedrooms, whatever it is, office, then you can expand it out. But remember, we're looking for 25 pieces of work. So.
Okay, thank you, Neville. And while you're there, Neville, I have a couple more for you. So for interior design, I won't have any 3D CAD drawings. May I just take a photo of my models of furnishing and fittings?
Yes, so we don't require 3D CAD drawings. You can show any type of drawing that you've done, so it can be hand sketches or whatever. But with regards to just taking photographs of models, absolutely fine. Furniture and fitting, absolutely fine. But remember that 1/3 of the marks of the portfolio goes for conceptual work. So that's creative thinking. So you need to come up with a project and an output that shows creative thinking.
Okay, very good. Another one, again for interiors. For interior design, I won't have any 3D CAD drawings. Oh, sorry, I've read that one. Can you implement unrelated images to sketchwork, i.e. furniture pieces you've made? So yes, is the answer. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. For fine art, how varied should the media used in the portfolio be? Should it be an even mix of painting, drawing, clay, texture? Is it okay to mainly focus on drawing, for example?
Yeah, I can answer that, and I'll answer another one there. I think Annie had a similar question, maybe about the do's and don'ts.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, it's fine. But just so again, that idea of having an even mix is useful, yes, but not absolutely necessary. What we do like to see is a blend of different processes and approaches. And come back to maybe Annie's point about maybe do's and don'ts. It's nice to see, and I think John you spent a bit of time talking about this, the use of the notebook as a device. We do like to see several notebooks because it gives us a good flavour of your own research interests and how you've developed some of your ideas for finished works. But yeah, it is nice to see different materials used. And again, Neville's pointed out to the amount of work. It is between 20 and 25 pieces. Notebooks kind of get counted as one piece, but they're really valuable. If we see really strong notebooks, it really it strengthens your hands. Let's put it that way, because they're really useful, a kind of rich resource for us to get a sense of who you are as a person, but also what your own interests are. So I would certainly advise the notebooks, and in the plural, as part of your submission.
And just a note on the 25, you don't have to submit 25 pieces either, particularly if you have the notebooks which have multiple pages and we can look at them. So don't feel you have to have 25. I mean, you can have up to 25, it's no problem. But as Mick has said, it's the notebooks. They can contain a lot of work. They can contain a lot of work the way that they're presented, either in PDF or through a video.
Maybe just one thing around that, though, it is nice to see, maybe if you do have in your notebooks works, it's nice to see something come to a resolution in a way, or be resolved in a way. So if you do have several pieces that kind of have a relationship to the notebook, it kind of shows the coherency around a project that you, or a team that you maybe interrogated or investigated. So that would be a big recommendation. from our perspective, and I think for everyone's perspective, actually.
Absolutely. No, that would stand, I think, for all programs.
Yeah.
There's another question here for interior design. Can Leaving Cert projects be submitted for interior design? If so, would that be counted as one piece?
Yes, of course. Interior, we're delighted to see any of the Leaving Cert submissions. That's not a problem. Will be counted as one or two. Again, you're trying to convey to us a richer body of work and all of your abilities. So you should have plenty of work to go into your full portfolio, not just relying on your Leaving Cert. That's what I would say. Remember, you're going to be marked on 1/3 of the marks, 200 marks in your portfolio are going to go to drawing, your drawing ability, 200 for conceptual or practical ability, and then 200 for conceptual. So that's the way it works. So it's 600 in total. So you need to be really careful that you kind of tick all these boxes. So not just drawing, but show us your practical abilities to put together a portfolio, etc. And also then this whole idea of having something that is very conceptual as well. So your creativity basically has been shown.
Yeah, and actually just on that, in terms of you're allowed to upload 25 files effectively. So, you know, if you've done one thing that you might consider one piece of work, if you upload 25 images of that, that's all of your allotment gone. So that's where you might use the PDF to put that together as one piece of work and upload it. And then it's considered one piece of work by the system, if you know what I mean. But we will look at all levels of it. So we will look at your sketching ability if that's in that PDF. We'll look at your ability to resolve something in the PDF. So we will take it all. We won't consider it as one piece of work in that sense, but the system will count it as one piece of work if it's uploaded all together. If I want to add 3D visualization to my portfolio done in 3D Studio Max, should you also show the steps involved? Well, again, I would say maybe a little bit of it. What do you think, Neville? Again, that's one for interiors.
Yeah, I think so. A little bit of it. That would be great to see that skill and ability coming through, but it's just one aspect.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, if you've got a really beautiful finished rendering, you might be able to do a couple of screenshots of the process, but we don't need really in-depth how you got there. But it would be good to see some screenshots maybe of the process as well. Can you make a website including all your pieces and then just post the URL of the website in submission? The answer to that, I'm afraid, is no. We are happy for you to include links to some external websites, but we want you to actually upload the files to the system. Really, the only external websites that we like you to use are YouTube and Vimeo. If you have, like Barry said before, if you've designed a website, feel free to include a link to it in your portfolio, but don't present all your work on a website and expect that we will go externally. For one reason, you know, students might be able to get past the deadline by doing that. So you do have to have submitted your work by a certain date, and it has to be on the system by a certain date. So. Are there any university website where you might see examples of portfolios? That's a slightly tricky thing for us to do because the portfolios are belonging to students and they're their work, so we don't put them on the website. But if you come along to some of our portfolio open days, we usually have students there who have portfolios and you'll be able to get a look at them then. But we're just very careful about sharing students' work. In the sketchbooks, with the understanding that it is primarily drawings and images, how much writing would you want to see? Again, you could have some writing or you could have none. You don't necessarily need to have writing in the sketchbooks. If there's something in there that makes sense, but you don't have to write things. You don't have to explain it. You don't have to annotate things. Again, if you're naturally doing it, it's great, but don't feel you have to specifically do that. For interior design, for the 4 to be 5 interior spaces, can they be spatial drawings of existing spaces or more? So ones you have designed, ones you have designed. And
Yeah, I think
Oh
what
yeah, sorry.
perhaps this refers to is plans. We'd like to see plans, of course. Yes, if you can draw 4 to 5 spatial plans of the different rooms, that's great. But we'd also need to see the designs that are going to go into those rooms, preferably three-dimensionally drawn. So yeah, so both.
Okay, very good. And just to clarify, a notebook presented as a video or PDF is considered one piece of work out of 25. Yeah, again, so it's only so you can upload 25 files. If you upload a notebook, that is considered one of the 25 files. We don't really mind how many pages are. You could have lots of pages in that notebook. It's still only considered one of the 25 files. So that's totally fine. Is it a good idea to add original songs and music and a music video to from YouTube? Yeah, so you could
That'd be
add,
great, John.
particularly if you've done yeah, if you've produced a video, yeah.
And music, I'd be delighted. Love to see
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, absolutely. Anything creative, we'll happily assess. Can you tell us more about the portfolio open days? So we have an open day in a week's time. It's on the 7th, well, a little bit more than a week's time. It's on the Saturday, the 7th of December. And at that, we usually have some students who might have their portfolios available on display. If you want to bring something and you've got something that's manageable, staff are generally, they will give you a little bit of feedback on your portfolio. We also do have more of a portfolio open day, which I think is happening this year towards the end. I think it's the last week of January. But again, if you Google open days a little bit closer to the time, you'll see exactly when it is. And they're designed specifically for you to bring in your portfolio and for us to give you a bit of feedback on. So, but that one won't happen till January. But typically, look, if you want to bring something along that we can have a quick look at on the 7th, you could give that a try, and we will have a look. Can you use the same work in a fine art portfolio as in an architecture portfolio? From our point of view, certainly. I think it's important to check the architecture guidelines, but you can certainly use the same type of work as far as I understand. I don't see that there would be an issue there for us necessarily. I mean, again, sorry, what I'm getting at there is as long as you understand what we're expecting to see, which is the categories of sketch of your ability to sketch, your drawing ability, your conceptual ability, and your 3D practical ability. Yeah, that's what I would say. Yeah, so best if you follow our guidelines, and then just make sure if you're submitting to architecture that you're making sure you follow their guidelines too. Do exterior sketches count? Absolutely. In terms of perspective for interior design, absolutely, yes. Yeah, any kind of sketching and inside, outside, that shows your ability to draw are more than valid, and we're delighted to see. Can SolidWorks pieces be submitted in interior design? Neville?
Yes, no problem at all.
Absolutely. Cool. So great. And again, I would say with that, we want to see more than SolidWorks sketches. So not all SolidWorks drawings. But you certainly can. It shows your ability to use CAD software, which is important. What do you suggest to put on research sheets? Notebook images and artist research inspiration. So I suppose this is a bit like a mood board or a research or background. If you're actually putting together, we'll say something in a formal way that conveys the research area of a stage of a project. Really, I mean, it doesn't have to be that formally presented that you're putting together a page that explains a project. If it's evident in the notebook, we will be able to see and translate that. If you do want to do it, again, I suppose we want to see inspiration, whatever inspired you, really, that's what we want to see. And that could maybe have some annotation or notes. But I think we don't have a formal kind of thing where we expect you to be collating and putting together a presentation of your research work necessarily. Of course, it is great if the research work is kind of coherent, and if when we're looking at the sketchbooks, we eventually see maybe the finished pieces later. What kind of work should be shown in notebooks? So really, we want to see sketches, drawings, notes. You can paste in things that inspire you. We often see materials, textiles, we see kind of overlays of things, we see everything. They can be messy, they can be full of stuff. They are, when we used to receive them physically, they used to be bulging, and sometimes we couldn't close them again, you know, because they were so full with stuff. So anything that shows your ability to research and do conceptual kind of research. How many how many places are reserved for mature students in fine art common entry? I'm not sure. No, Nolene, are you able to answer that? Or
It's 5, I think. Advanced entry or mature students in fine art.
there is a number.
Yeah.
I can't actually remember off the top of my head, but there are places reserved, so I can't tell you, Kerry, at this moment in time. If you want, you can email and we'll be able to get back. About 5, isn't it?
I think it's 5. Yeah, as far as I recall, for entry there is 5 notional places for that.
Okay.
But that's still, you know, would still be based, I suppose, on a portfolio submission.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, and so they are still competitive places. You still have to meet the standard.
Yeah, John, I was just going to come in there. Yeah, roughly. So just to add to that, roughly about 10% we aim for, of course, places for mature applicants. So when you're applying through the CAO, you need to tick the box to say that you're a mature applicant, and you need to complete the personal statement. Because if you're not competing on a Leaving Cert and a QQI award, you need to give a very detailed personal statement, please. Okay. And there are guides on the CAO website on how to apply as a mature applicant, and we'll take any questions at admissions@tudublin.ie. We'll be delighted to help you.
Okay, and thanks. And Nolene made a very good and important point earlier, which is also that the CAO closes at on the 1st of February 2025 at 5 p.m. So you have to apply there first. That's really, really important. Our deadline is later for the receipt of the portfolio, but you have to have applied first to the CAO. So that's really important. I'm going to take one last question, and I think if there is one here, I think, yeah, and then I think we're going to call it a day. And after this, then, if there are any questions, just feel free and to contact the school. To show our ability to do research, can we submit research work into a specific material, interior design? I would say yes.
Yep.
Absolutely. Yes. So we want to see material research into materials, and that's perfectly okay. When we'll do one last one. When do you get the email with your portfolio results? Is it before or after the CAO results come out? So it's well before. So it's a couple of weeks after Nolene, usually, I think, after submission. So it'll be kind of April, May.
Yeah, usually April, May.
Okay, all right. Listen, I want to say a huge thank you to everyone. Thank you for coming, and we're really looking forward to seeing your work on Slide Room, and then we're really looking forward to seeing you hopefully with us in September. And as well, of course, we're really looking forward to seeing some of you at our open days. So again, if you just Google TU Dublin Open Days, you get all the information. And Nolene has also put some comments in the chat there with links. Okay. All right. Thanks, everyone. And thanks to the staff, my colleagues here for joining and attending. And have a great evening. Thanks all.
Bye all.
Bye.
Bye-bye.